Welcome to the Realtors Podcast, your go-to resource for everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned agent or just starting out, we provide actionable tips, market insights, and success stories to help you grow your business. Tune in for expert advice, industry trends, and the inspiration you need to thrive in the competitive world of real estate. Stay ahead of the game with the Realtors Podcast.
Okay, so like buying a home in Australia, especially your first home,
Yeah,
it can seem, well, kind of overwhelming, right?
totally.
There's just so much to wrap your head around,
Mhm.
but that's why we're diving deep today. We're
Absolutely.
going to unpack all the things you really need to know.
Yeah.
And to help us out, we've got some amazing insights from Queenie.
Oh, I love Queenie.
Yeah, she's a finance YouTuber,
Right.
and she's been through the Aussie buying process twice.
Wow.
So she bought her first home,
Okay.
then upgraded to a bigger place.
Nice.
So she knows her stuff.
She's got the experience, yeah.
Exactly. She's got those battle scars
And the wisdom.
and the wisdom, yeah.
Like, prove it.
Exactly. So one story she shared that really stood out to me
Okay.
was about her very first place in Sydney.
All right.
It wasn't exactly like a glamorous home.
Oh.
Yeah. She said the oven was practically from the Stone Age,
Oh, wow.
and the cupboards were, barely hanging on.
Yikes.
But here's the thing. That place, that little diamond in the rough,
Yeah.
is now worth like 30% more than what she bought it for.
Seriously.
Seriously.
That's amazing.
It's a great example of how property,
Mm-hmm.
especially in certain markets,
Yeah,
can really grow in value over time.
absolutely. And it's a good reminder that you don't always need to buy the perfect, move-in ready home to get into the market.
Right. And speaking of getting into the market,
Yes.
Queenie also talked about these government schemes.
Yeah.
That can be super helpful for first-time buyers.
Yeah, like what kind of schemes?
So there's the first home guarantee
Okay.
and the family home guarantee.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, and they can make a huge difference.
Oh, so.
Well, they basically help you overcome that massive hurdle of saving up a huge deposit.
Right, because that's often the biggest obstacle for first-time buyers.
Exactly. And with these schemes,
Hmm.
you could potentially buy a home
Yeah.
with as little as a 2% deposit.
Wow, 2%. That's incredible.
I know, right? And for single parents,
Yeah.
there's the family home guarantee,
Right.
which also lets you buy with a 2% deposit.
That's amazing. So it really opens up opportunities for, people who might have thought that homeownership was completely out of reach.
Exactly. It makes it so much more accessible.
Absolutely.
Plus, with both schemes,
Yeah.
you can avoid paying lender's mortgage insurance.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, which is usually required if you have less than a 20% deposit.
Right.
And that can save you like thousands of dollars.
Seriously, thousands.
Thousands. So yeah, those schemes are definitely worth looking into.
Definitely. It's free money,
Right.
essentially.
Exactly. But, even with a smaller deposit,
Yeah.
there are still other costs to think about.
Right. It's not just about the deposit.
Yeah, Queenie was very adamant about that.
Like, what other costs are we talking about?
Well, there are things like solicitor fees,
Okay.
moving expenses,
Uh-huh.
building and pest inspections,
Right.
all these random costs that
Yeah.
can really add up.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about those when you're caught up in the excitement of house hunting.
Totally. Like you're so focused on finding the perfect place
Mm-hmm.
that you kind of forget about all the extra expenses.
And those expenses, they can be significant.
Oh yeah, we're talking potentially another 5–10% of the property price.
Wow, so you really need to factor that into your budget from the beginning.
Absolutely. Like if you're buying a $500,000 property,
Okay.
you could be looking at an extra $25,000 to $50,000 in those additional costs.
Oof, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a reality check for sure.
It is?
Now there's another cost Queenie mentioned that sounded kind of scary.
What's that?
Stamp duty.
Oh, yeah, stamp duty.
What exactly is that?
So stamp duty is basically a tax that you pay when you buy a property.
Okay.
It's like, the government's little cut
You
for
can put-
officially transferring the ownership to your name.
Right, so it's kind of like a transfer fee.
Exactly. And it can be a pretty big chunk of money.
Really?
Yeah. But the good news is many states and territories offer concessions or exemptions for first-time buyers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so you could potentially save thousands of dollars.
Yeah, thousands.
Sometimes even 5% of the purchase price.
That's huge.
It is. So it's definitely worth doing your research and seeing what's available in your area.
Okay, so we've got deposits, extra costs, stamp duty.
Yeah, a lot to keep track of.
It can feel kind of overwhelming, right?
Totally.
But one piece of advice from Queenie that I really liked
Okay.
was that your first home doesn't have to be your forever home.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Like, you don't need to find the perfect dream home right away.
Right. It's about getting on the property ladder
Exactly.
and then making strategic moves as your circumstances change.
Totally. So you can start smaller
Mm-hmm.
and then upgrade later when you're ready.
It's all about taking that first step.
Yeah. And it kind of takes the pressure off, you know?
Absolutely. It makes the whole process feel less daunting.
So yeah, buying a home in Australia, it might seem complex, but it's totally doable, especially when you understand the costs,
Right.
the government programs that are available.
And the fact that you don't need to buy your dream home right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a thought.
All right.
We've been talking about Queenie's experience in Sydney,
Yeah.
but Australia is a big place.
Huge.
So how might these factors, costs, programs, even market trends, differ in other cities?
That's a good question.
Like, what about Melbourne or Brisbane?
Or even rural areas.
Yeah, rural areas.
It's definitely something to consider.
Food for thought as you continue your home buying journey.
Absolutely. Do your research.
And best of luck.
Good luck.